Well, 3 years ago this week, raging floodwaters overtook Humphreys County, claiming lives and devastating the city of Waverly. And now during that time, communications were wiped out and emergency crews were stuck in the worst flooding incident the area has ever seen.
Yeah, while WKRN has had plenty of news coverage about this tragic day here on Local on 2, we wanted to check in to see how the community is recovering after the flood. So we are here today with Sheriff Davis, Chris Davis. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure being here, ma'am.
He was our point person throughout this, also right there in the thick of helping your neighbors. I know you have to remember exactly where you were 3 years ago when those waters overtook your county.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I woke up to a phone call that morning and saying that we needed some water rescues, and it took me about, from the time I left home to get into the city of Waverly, took me somewhere around 4 hours.
Wow.
Sure did.
And I know you guys have been rebuilding clearly since then, and you've remained hopeful. So what does it look like 3 years later? Where are you at?
You know, we're still trying to take some of that and put that past us in the rebuilding and doing things, but to look around and see things that are new that are coming, seeing things that are coming up. You know, it's one of those things you smile, then you drive by other things that you'll be happy when it's gone. But we're in a good place. We're moving forward. We're in a good place. We've got a good mindset. Our communities, you know, I've always said it, when the rubber meets the road, our people come out, and our people are our biggest asset. And it's we're in a good place. We're moving. It takes time. And man, was I wrong. I was so wrong. Bob Mueller had come down, and we'd done a little town hall meeting. Probably within 10 days of everything, and I told him, he asked me about the road recovery, and he asked a question about how long it'd take, and I said, Bob, I don't see us being anywhere in less than a year. And man, was I so wrong. I just didn't have a clue of what the big picture was at that time. I was so caught into the moment and just trying to do what we were doing, and it was just a crazy time,
Well, and trying to remain hopeful, and here we are 3 years later. It's unreal to see that some of it has still not been touched.
It is. It's like I say, you know, we've got some of our schools that were flooded that day. Some of our apartment complexes that were flooded that day are still that eyesore that you drive through the community and see. And that sort of kinds of, every time you drive through town, it gives just that flashback moment to see, just have to relive it for just that split second even. And it gets old after a little while, but we're moving. I was speaking with the mayor the other day, city mayor Buddy Frazier, and we're moving forward. And one of the private apartment complexes is now sold, and that gentleman's very hopeful, maybe even having some of those to be lived in back by the first of the year. So we're in a good way. We're going good. We always stay positive.
And I love that about you. Okay, so you know, it's interesting because anniversaries, especially a tragic one, just stir up all of these emotions. But you guys are going to be honoring those who had fallen, those lives lost, in a big, beautiful way this weekend. Tell everyone what they can expect.
Absolutely. We have again, Mayor Buddy Frazier has done such a great job in putting together this, and we have a memorial it's a beautiful memorial that's being built on the west end of the school system, there where one of those city parks used to be, and it's a beautiful monument and a gazebo, and just taking, you know, the time and the space to build it, and to know that that's going to be so-called laid in the archives and there for people to see for forever. And that's something that we just this is a big one. Time heals, but this is going to be that we never forget that time. We never forget where we come from or what we've been through that's pulled us together. So that's the big thing. It's a beautiful monument. It's a beautiful monument. So,
what does that monument look like? You said the governor's going to be there. Everyone's invited to come out, right?
Everyone's invited to come out. It's going to be right across the street, I believe, from 507 East Main Street. And it's him and Director Sheehan, I think, from team are going to be there, and they're going to be the ones that are doing the unveiling, since they was so huge in our recovery and so huge for just their input and what they did for us during those times. So it's going to be a beautiful ceremony.
Yes.
Awesome.
And I love how you talked about, you know, when things happen, we all show up.
That's right.
And you have been in this business for, I want to say
34 years.
34
I'm
years.
not that old.
Thank you, Dad. You look great.
I'm not that old.
But I want to know how this event has impacted you personally.
Ooh, it's aged me. I can feel it emotionally, mentally, physically, and every year, you're gonna make me emotional. Every year when you go or get close to those time periods, it's reliving it, pushing through it, reliving the things, rebuilding things. It's made me stronger in some ways. It's aged me, and I can feel it, you know, the physical and emotional. But I think it's made me realize other people and how it comes together. How you've, you know, I've always been that people person. I've always been that person to help. But you know, even when like now, I've even changed my email, the signature on my email. There's not been one time in life that I'll ever look down on you, and that's when I'm stretching my hand out to help you up. And you know, it's those kind of things that's made me realize just how short life can be, and how much we in law enforcement can have an impact on folks negatively or in a good way. You know, we're there in the time when we have to arrest them, but there's also times that we can be there doing our job that we're helping people. And that's what I so strongly try to reiterate to our young guys. You know, I'm getting older in the profession, me and some of the guys that I look back to and that I grew up with. And there's 9 of us guys that work together in Dixon that are sheriffs or chiefs. But, you know, we're the ones that's passing our profession on to the next people. And we're the ones that's trying, that we need to make it to where we teach these younger guys not only how to arrest and do our job professionally, but how to help people and be that person in the roles that we are and have that positive impact as well. So it's a delicate balance. It really is. It's a delicate balance, and you got me a little emotional on some of that. So.
Well, you are wonderful.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I don't think we could have a better pillar throughout this devastation.
Really.
This week in Waverly, we'll host a candlelight vigil and memorial site dedication. Among those in attendance, Governor Lee, as well as TEMA Director Patrick Sheehan. It starts at 7 p.m. on Saturday night.